Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our next matchup for 173. In this one, we have Takeru Segawa taking on Denis Purić. In this fight, we've got just about everything you want: legacy, redemption, and danger. As for those of you who might not know, Takeru is one of, if not the biggest, Japanese kickboxing legend, being the only fighter in K1 history to be a three-weight world champion, who unfortunately has kind of hit hard times as lately Takeru has not done very well since joining one. Now, of his three fights in the promotion, he's 1-2. But you look at those two losses, he's only lost to the absolute best that one has to offer, losing to Superlek via decision, and then most recently this March at 172, lost via knockout to Rawtang. So it's not like he is losing to scrubs, none whatsoever. Granted, though, that loss to Rawtang was not the best. In fact, Rawtang kind of smoked Takeru in about a minute and change. So it really just comes down to how Takeru is mentally in this fight, because he's going to be taking on Denis Purić, who is a very entertaining, fun fighter, perhaps one of the most explosive fighters in the 135-pound division, as well as an explosive pressure-based fighter, similar in vein to Rawtang in many ways. So, without further ado, let's get down to the breakdown. So, kind of give you some context, though. For Takeru, like I said, this is an interesting point in his career. I mean, he's still dangerous even at 34, but, we're past the point of him looking invincible. Well, even with Takeru's record of, 44-5 as a professional, while Purić himself is 39-13 as a professional. Now, for Takeru, who, as I said, those losses have been pretty damning, more specifically the loss to Rawtang, as that wasn't just physical, but that was pretty mental, getting for Takeru to get knocked out the way he did, especially in his home country. So in many ways, this is a redemption story for Takeru, as if I'm being honest, I think he might retire if he were to lose this fight, but that's kind of me speculating. Now looking on the Purić side, he himself, he's no spring chicken either. He's 40 years of age at this point, but make no mistake, Purić still puts on exciting fights consistently, no matter in wins or losses. Granted, Purić has not been looking good as of recent, going on a 3-fight skid, but one of those is to Rawtang, and you could argue he gave Rawtang his toughest kickboxing fights. For Purić, he's be categorized as a brawler with a high fight IQ. He doesn't just walk forward and get hit, but he understands how to create chaos and drag a tactician into a dogfight. And the thing is, at this stage of his career, he's got nothing to lose. Nobody expects him to beat a name like Takeru, but at the same time, the fighters you least expect to win are often the most dangerous. He's got power in both hands, throws heavy combinations, and always tries to land with something meaningful. Even if he's outscored early, he'll still come forward and look for the knockout shot, like he did against Jacob Smith in their fight. And if you underestimate a fighter like that, now granted, Purić fights more in Muay Thai than kickboxing, but Purić's fought in kickboxing before, so the kickboxing gloves are nothing new for Purić to use. Now it's going to be interesting as well to see what kind of adjustments both are going to make, as during his time in K1, Takeru thrived on the constant pressure, constant volume, and the beautiful combinations he's known for. One of Takeru's best weapons would be his lead leg, as he's able to throw it as a teep, throw it as a kick, simple leg kick, high kick, definitely from different angles. And you look at Takeru's teeps, for example, he's very good at pointing the toes upward so that it's not so much the foot is planted, but the toes are jabbing to the breadbasket or to the solar plexus, just stealing every little bit of air out of you, like, ugh. Now, another thing for Takeru is that for Takeru, not only does he win his fight by throwing one, isn't that one that throws 100 punches around, he's the one who throws jabs off angles and counters cleanly, especially when a fighter like Purić would overcommit. His footwork has been sharp, and he uses the center very well to not get trapped near the fence, or in this case, get trapped near the corner. But for adjustments like this one, I would think Takeru, who cannot let Purić bully him in the pocket for too long, as I feel like this comes down to the finesse and range management of Takeru versus the relentless pressure of Purić. And here's the thing about it: Purić doesn't fade easily. He'll take two to land one, and if that one lands flush, that fight can change in an instant. Because I've been wondering how good is Takeru's durability after how many fights he's had, the wars he's had in K1. I wouldn't call Takeru damaged goods was when he got into one, but all those fights he's had, about what's one for about 49 fights in total, all across three weight classes. That does put a toll on one's body, and I think for Takeru that is definitely something that's going to be a huge factor in this fight, as he's been dropped twice of his three fights, and one of those was the vicious knockout, and even in his win to Diaz Young, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, he got dropped in the first round and had to kind of rally back for a second round knockout. So that's also something to keep in mind. Now, looking at this, stylistically, this fight is more so a contest of rhythm. Takeru's rhythm is snappy, measured, precise. He's got that traditional kickboxing base, combinations, feint, the high guard, textbook execution. For Purić, it's chaos. Looping hooks, forward pressure, and lots of aggression. He doesn't care about looking pretty. He just wants to land something meaningful, take your head off. So I really think the first 90 seconds will tell us a lot. Because if Takeru can establish range early, that front kick, that jab, maybe even a check hook to make Purić hesitate, then Takeru will be in control of this fight. But if Purić can close that distance, make it ugly, and force exchanges in the clinch or against the ropes, then he can absolutely rattle Takeru. And the crowd, could actually play a factor. Fighting at home is a blessing and a curse. It gives you energy, but it also adds the pressure. If Purić starts landing, that Tokyo arena gets very quiet very fast. And that kind of silence can shake a fighter who's used to dominance, like Takeru. Now, let's talk about something, that, I can't really show in stats. There is a mental side to this that I think is important. For Takeru, Takeru's pride is unmatched. He's not someone who just shrugs off losses. He takes them personally. And after Rotang, you can see it, that loss stung him deeply. And he said in interviews that this is a fight he cannot afford to lose. That tells you that kind of the focus he's bringing in, but also shows you how much pressure that Takeru is putting on himself. And that's dangerous because when you fight with fear of losing, sometimes you tighten up, you play safe, and you hesitate. And for Purić, he doesn't have that. He's a free fighter, or sorry, the freer fighter in this one, as you could call it. He's coming to Tokyo with no expectations. If he loses, people are going to say, well, he was supposed to lose. But, if he wins, he could shock the world. Then that's a very liberating position for him. And sometimes that alone can really swing the momentum. So I guess the ways I can do this is, what are the keys to victory for this one? For Takeru, it's to stay disciplined, establish his range with kicks and jabs, punish Purić's entries with clean counters, and manage tempo. Don't gas out, chase and finish. For Purić, it's make it ugly and don't basically let Takeru find his rhythm. Cut off the cage. Don't follow, but try and cut corners, as I believe this is going to take place in the ring, not a cage. As well as attack the body of Takeru early and see if Purić he can rattle Takeru. That's another big thing I think in this fight, because if he can rattle Takeru early, I think this is a Purić fight to win. So, all in all, this has been a really tough fight to call, because it really comes down to how Takeru is mentally. But I think if he's firing on all cylinders, if he's able to silence the voices of doubt for just that moment when he's in the fight, I think Takeru is going to win. In this fight, I think it just comes down to Takeru is the more seasoned of the two, has much, not only just that higher level experience of being a long range champion the 3-weight world champion that he is. But I think Takeru just has the proper tools to deal with a pressure fighter like Purić is. And I think the front kick's just going to play a major factor in this one. As I can see Takeru being able to manage distance great, using good lateral movement, good circular movement, using his side step, his quarter turns, and just being able to punish Putić from range more times than not. So for my prediction, I think it's going to be Takeru. Not easily, but convincingly. And I think he can possibly reestablish himself in one. But with that being said, that's been my prediction for this fight. If you liked the video, comment and subscribe, and I'd love to hear you guys drop your predictions in the comments below. Next up, we'll have our first title fight on the card as Yuya Wakamatsu takes on Joshua Paco. But until then, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. I thank you all for listening. And one more thing, if you like the way I try to break down this fight, I'm trying something new. So let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. With that being said, take care.